Welcome one and all. Happy to see you again for our Friday yoga classes. Today we're going to begin in child's pose. So you can place your knees out wide on your mat, bring your toes together, and then just soften your torso to the ground. Let your chest melt to the floor. And if you'd like to rest your forehead or your chin on the ground, you can feel free to do that. Let's just take some nice, deep, soothing breaths here as we begin to find our space. Feel the breath as it comes in through the nostrils, fills the base of our lungs. And feel it slowly come out through the nose. And repeat. Let your body be heavy as you sink into this pose for just a few more breaths, just like that. In through the nose and out through the nose. One more deep breath, final one. Big inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. You can move your legs. We're going to come back up to tabletop position. We're going to have our shoulders stacked over our wrists, hips stacked over our knees, and we'll take our cat and cow poses here. Warming up the spine, we drop our belly, bring our chin to the sky for cow pose as we inhale. Exhale, we lift our spine high, drop our hips, and drop our head to the ground on our exhale. Taking those two poses at your own pace, following your own breath. Take these as large or as small as you'd like, warming up your body for the movements to come. Take one or two more, and then we'll find stillness in the center. Sit back on your heels. We're going to do a few wrist stretches today. So I don't know about you guys, but I've been feeling a little bit of wrist pain, probably due to, all the typing at the computer. So if anybody else can relate, we're going to do a few wrist stretches this morning before we begin. So just taking our hands, just start to move your wrists in a circular motion. Noticing what you feel here. Going in one direction. And then reverse that circle, gently taking your wrists in circles, going the opposite way. And find stillness, and then with our palms, let's open up our palms to face forward, spreading our fingers wide, making a really big 5 with our hand. Reaching our fingertips up, feeling our palms stretch open, and then close the fist. Squeeze your fingers in together, make a really strong fist here. And then take those two movements, opening and closing your fist, just a few times like that. Fantastic. Finding tabletop position again, we have just a few more wrist stretches. Taking one hand at a time, take one hand and flip your palm so that your palm is touching the mat. Now this can get really intense really fast, so only apply as much pressure as is good for you today. You can intensify the stretch if you maybe move forward and back in a small motion. Just noticing what you feel, breathe into that space. If it's too much, you can always come out of it. And then return that hand, and we'll do the same thing with the other palm. Flipping our palm so that the back of our hand is on the mat. You can stay right here, or if you'd like to move forward and back, see how that feels. And you can return that hand to a normal position. And then our final stretch is, you can do this with one hand at a time or both, but we're going to take our fingers and turn them either out to the side or trying to make them come as face the body. So if you want to see it from the side, we're trying to reach our fingers facing towards the body. If they don't get all the way facing the body, that's okay. Just go at your maximum. And then you can do this with one or both palms, but see how that forward and backward motion feels in this position. All right, fantastic. Let's return our hands to their regular position. We're in tabletop, but we're going to press up into downward facing dog. So plant the heels, lift the hips up nice and high, drop the head. Take your time in your downward dog. If you'd like to pedal out your feet, you can feel free to do that. But press firmly in your hands, drop the shoulders away from your ears, drop your head down. Your hips are high, maybe you have a slight bend in your knees, and your heels are reaching towards the ground. Take 1 or 2 more breaths here. If you were pedaling your feet, let's find stillness for the last breath. And then let's walk the feet to the top of the mat, and then slowly roll up. 1 vertebrae at a time. Your head is the last thing to come up. You can roll out your shoulders here at the top of the mat if you'd like. And then let's breathe our arms up overhead, stretching them nice and tall to the sky. When they get to the top, if you'd like to clasp your hands together, let's take a small back bend here, slight bend in your knee, and reaching up to the sky and then back behind us. Make sure we're still closing the ribs together, and then coming back up through center, neutral spine. Let's grab a hold of our right wrist with our left hand, and we're going to take sundial pose. So holding on to the right wrist with the left hand, we're going to reach over to the left. Again, you can have a slight bend in your knee here as we stretch our side body. Breathe into this space. Going only as far as you're comfortable. And coming back up. Switch hands. Holding on to our left wrist with our right hand. Breathe up before we reach over to the right. Slight bend in the knee. Open that chest, don't let it fall forward. Maybe feel that stretch in the side body, or maybe the shoulder blades behind you. 1 more breath. And then inhale back up through center. Let the arms float down. Roll the shoulders if that feels good. Let's take 1 more big inhale, reaching our arms up to the sky. This time we're going to exhale and bring them down and in front of us through heart center. You can have another slight bend in your knees here. We're going to take a few twists. So twisting over to the right and back through center. Over to the left and back through center. Inhaling as we twist. Exhaling as we unwind. Following your own breath. Trying to keep the hips facing forward as we're only twisting the upper body. Take 1 or 2 more. And then we'll find ourselves in the center. Fantastic. Inhale, reaching up overhead. This time we're going to forward fold. Swan dive forward, reaching towards the ground. Let your head be heavy. And then on our inhale, we plant our hands on our shins. Do a halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands, and we'll step our legs back into the top of a push-up position, plank pose. Holding plank here for 1 moment, feeling our core engage. And then slowly roll down to the mat, lowering our arms down, lowering your entire body down. Our hands can be right outside our rib cage at shoulder width, shoulder height. And then we're going to press through the hands and lift up just the upper back, finding low cobra pose. So even though we're stretching the back, engage your legs, feel your knees pulling up, pressing down into the floor with the tops of our feet. You can stay here if you'd like to slightly lift the hands off the floor. Engage and activate that back. Exhale, release. And then press up through tabletop or through plank, and we're going to find downward facing dog. Pressing through the L's of our hands, hips are nice and high, and then slowly walk to the top of the mat, and roll all the way up. Inhale, reaching arms up overhead. Exhale, coming down through heart center, and we're going to find chair pose. So continue bending those knees, sitting in that imaginary chair. Our hips are back, our weight is in our heels, and then inhale, straightening our legs. Now we're going to take this chair pose a few times, just with some movement, bending and straightening our legs, taking it at your own pace. Just start to warm up the legs, building heat in the legs. So we're bending and straightening right here. And then in just a few breaths, we're going to hold down in chair pose. So let's take our final chair, and we're going to hold here. So our weight is in our heels, so much so that you can lift your toes up. Our hips are back. We can keep our hands in prayer, or if you'd like, reach them out in front of you. If you'd like to take this even further, reach them maybe up overhead. Shoulders away from your ears, lifting the torso up nice and high. Long and tall spine. Hold for one more breath. Maybe sink 1 inch deeper. Inhale, straighten the legs. Good work. Inhale, we reach up overhead. On our exhale, we're going to forward fold. Inhale, we halfway lift, elongate the spine. Exhale, forward fold, plant the hands, and this time we're just stepping the left leg back. So left leg back, front leg forward, and in a high lunge, a low lunge here, I'm sorry. Feeling our legs engage, our hips are both facing forward, and then on our inhale, we're going to lift the right arm to the sky, twisting over to that right bent leg. So I'll turn to the side if you'd like to see me that way, but we're either in a low lunge with our back knee up, or if you'd like to drop that knee this morning, you have that option. We're reaching our right arm up overhead, feeling the shoulder blades pulling back behind us. Both of our hips are still square to the center. Feel those legs pulling in towards each other, engage the inner thighs. One more breath here. And then exhale, lower the arm back down. If your leg was down in the back, let's lift that back knee up. And then we're going to bring our torso up and find high lunge. So high lunge, we're still got that right bent leg forward. Our left leg behind us, our heel is high. Bend deeply into that front leg. If you need to make this any more accessible, you can walk that back leg forward and make a smaller stance. Let's inhale our arms up overhead. Although we're reaching our arms up nice and tall, float those shoulders down away from the ears. Find your breath. And then on our exhale, let's bring our hands to heart center. So we're going to find from this high lunge position, we're going to come to warrior 3. So engage that front leg and make your back leg nice and light. Walk that back leg in. And then once you come to the front leg, we're going to lift the back leg up off the ground. I'll turn to the side so you can see my warrior 3. We're reaching the crown of our head away from the toe. This leg in the back can be as low or as high as you'd like, but we're reaching our torso to try and be parallel to the ground. We can keep our hands in prayer, or if you'd like to reach your arms back behind you, you can do that. Just trying to find our balance this morning. If we fall out of the position, that's all right. We just get right back in. We are going to hold for about 2 more breaths here. So reaching the heel away from the crown of the head, reaching the torso to try and get parallel to the ground. 1 more breath, and then inhale, coming back up through center. Shake out the legs, maybe bend 1 knee at a time. And we'll take the same flow on the other side. Inhale, reaching our arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we take our halfway lift, elongate the spine. Exhale, plant the hands, and this time we step our right leg back behind us. So our right leg is back, but our heel is high. You can keep that knee off the ground, or if you'd like to drop it, that's all right too. I'm going to drop mine. And then we'll take our twist. So twisting over to the left, reaching the left arm nice and high to the sky. Turn to the side if you need to see me that way. We're reaching our left arm high, pulling and engaging those shoulder blades back behind us. Maybe you look up at the top hand, or maybe you want to see how it feels to look down to the floor. Hold for 1 more breath. and then lower the arm back down. If our back knee was on the floor, let's lift it at this point in time. And then we're going to bring our torso up to try and find that high lunge. High lunge, we're bending deeply through our left knee, knees going directly over the toes. Our right leg behind us is straight, our heel is high. Both of our hips facing forward. Pull the left hip back, push the right hip forward, and then inhale your arms up overhead. Find your breath. Root down through the feet, but feel the crown of the head pulling up. On our exhale, we find heart center with our arms, and then we start to walk that back leg forward, make that back leg nice and light as we shift our weight forward onto that front leg and find our warrior three. Our back leg is reaching long and away from the body, away from the crown of the head. If you want to have a slight micro bend in that supporting leg, you can do that. Sometimes that helps with balance. And then we can keep our hands in prayer, or if you'd like to reach your arms back behind you, palms facing the ground, fingertips reaching towards the feet. Take about 2 more breaths right here. And then lower that leg, come back up through center. Take a deep breath. Maybe bend one or both legs. Stretching out the legs, maybe shake them a little, whatever you need to reset. Let's inhale, reaching our arms up overhead. And then just gently lower them down to heart center. And then find Tadasana pose. Mountain pose at the top of our mat. Both of our legs are facing forward, our shoulders down, palms facing forward. And as we stay here, root down through the feet, reach up through the crown of the head, grow maybe 1 inch taller, and then exhale, release. Great work. We're gonna find a seat on the ground, so come take a nice gentle seat. And we're gonna find butterfly position. So bringing the bottoms of our feet together, our knees are open nice and wide. And then our feet can be either away from the torso, that makes it a little bit more accessible for your hips if you're feeling tight hips today. But if you can, try and bring your legs in as close to the body as possible. We can hold on to our feet or ankles as we reach our spine long. We don't want to have a curve in our low back. We want to try and sit up nice and tall. On our exhale, we're going to hinge at the hips and reach our torso forward. You can stay right here, or if you'd like to reach your arms out long as well, you have that option. Maybe reach your arms away, drop your head down. Find a space that you can stay in comfortably with a stretch for about 8 breaths. Feel your breath become to take longer breaths again. Your heart rates start to slow down as we begin the cool off phase of our practice. We're about halfway through this position. See if maybe your body will let you go a little bit further, reaching our arms maybe further away from us or our torso lower. If not, you stay exactly where you are. Wherever you are is where you're supposed to be. Just listen to your body. Take one more final breath here. And then you can slowly walk your arms back in if they were reaching out nice and long. Let's close our knees, and then we can bring our back to the floor. Our feet can be planted on the ground, lying down on the floor. Both of our knees are high, and we're going to make some windshield wiper movements with our knees. So dropping the knees over to one side, back up through center, and then drop them to the other side. Just feeling a nice stretch and release in the low back here. You can have your feet as wide or as narrow as comfortable for you. Just taking these two movements, just releasing the legs and the low back. All right, find stillness in the center. We're going to take pigeon pose, lying on our back. So I'll turn to this side if you'd like to see me that way. But we're starting with our right leg. So take your right leg, cross it over the left leg, making a wide figure 4 with our knees, trying to open that right knee as wide as possible to the side. And then we can stay right here with our left foot on the ground, or if you'd like, lift that left leg off the ground, and that will intensify the stretch. See how it feels. The closer you pull in that left leg to your body, the deeper you'll feel the stretch in your right hip, your right glute. Breathe into this space for about 8 breaths. If you'd like to gently close your eyes, you have that as an option. Try and keep both feet flexed so that we protect the knee. And then if your left leg was in the air, let's plant the left leg back down, plant the right leg back down, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So this time we're crossing our left leg over the right leg, opening that knee up, making our figure 4. And then we can stay right here with the right leg on the ground, or if you'd like to lift the right leg up, you can do so at this point. Find your space. The stretch might feel different on this side compared to the first side. If it does, just notice what you're feeling and breathe into any space that you might be feeling the stretch at the deepest point. We'll hold this for about 8 breaths. Your last exhale, and then let's lower the legs back down. Take both knees into the body and make a ball, hugging your legs in. If you'd like to rock from side to side, massage the low back. And then let's take both of our arms out long to a T. Drop your hips over to the left. Your head can be facing up, or if you'd like to look over and beyond your right shoulder, opposite of looking away from your knees. Bring the knees back up through center, and then we'll drop them to the other side, dropping over to the right. Maybe your head looks over to the left. Center. Make any final movements before we take Shavasana. When you're ready for Shavasana, bring your legs long, your arms long beside you, palms facing up, and then gently close your eyes. Make any final movements at this point before we find complete stillness. Simply focusing on our breath, acknowledging how our body feels after we put all the work in this morning, and just allowing your body to rest. to deepen your breath. Bring movement back to your fingers and your toes. When you're ready, roll over to one side. And take your time getting up. Find a seated position on our mat. And once you arrive, let's take both of our arms by our side. Inhale them, reaching gently up overhead. Exhale, lower the arms down to heart center.